To get the most out of our courses, we need to apply them to our other classes, to our work, and to our life. When we do that, amazing things happen. Golden West College alumnus Steve Barnes took my College 100 class many years ago. From day one, he integrated what he learned in my class every day. As just one example, he rearranged his schedule, managing his time, so that at my suggestion, he could participate in student government. I'm sure this afternoon you will hear about his many achievements and challenges in college and beyond. His story is relatable and inspirational, and it warms my heart that he credits some of what he has achieved to what he learned in College 100. Like your life, like my life, his life goes on. Steve has recently completed his first book, which will be published and available in bookstores everywhere next spring. He also is a member of Toastmasters International, an organization that helps people learn to make great speeches. So you're in for a real treat. I'm honored and proud to introduce you to our guest speaker, Steve Barnes.
Thank you, Dean, for that kind introduction. Graduates, family, friends, Golden West College instructors, staff, and our honored guests. We're all here to celebrate a milestone in your college education. But if you think the college classes were difficult, that's nothing compared to the grit, the fortitude, and the perseverance that's going to be required for you to get through these next 15 minutes. I want to thank comedian David Crow for sending me that joke. Graduates, in a moment, you're going to receive one of the most important papers you're going to receive in your entire life. This paper represents dedication, commitment, sacrifice, not to mention a specific set of abilities. And the greater your struggle to get this paper tonight, the more beautifully it's going to hang on your wall. This year I was lucky enough to give a scholarship in my name, and as a part of the process, I would read many of the scholarship applications. And one of the things that I realized is that for many of you, maybe even all of you, you're accomplishing a dream you once thought impossible. In other words, you're overcoming where you once thought yourself inadequate, and you're becoming more powerful than you thought you could be. I too once walked in those shoes. At the age of 10, my mom dated a man in Monroe Penitentiary in Washington State. Every weekend we'd go visit him, and at the end of the 2-hour drive, we'd go up a windy road, and I'll never forget the image of that massive, massive complex. Nothing in family life was inspiring me to stay out of trouble, so from the age of 14 to 16, I lived in Ryther Child Center. It's a group home. It's near Seattle, Washington. It's a lot like Orangewood Children's Home just down the road. But there was one big difference. At Ryther, they had a program for the deaf. And my roommate, Todd, was hard of hearing. I learned sign language from Todd. After that, in high school, I was in special education. Cutting classes all the time. When it got to the point of ridiculous, my teachers, they sent me off to the vice principal. And that vice principal gave me what any wise 17-year-old would know was way too harsh of a punishment. Stormed out of his office, down the long driveway, and stomped down the road on the way home. As I walked down that road, even though the prison was 2 hours away, the only image I could see in front of me was the image of that prison. And I knew that if I kept walking, that's where I was going to end up. I went back and I took my punishment. Luckily, after that, my special ed teachers, after taking responsibility, said, if you'll just continue to try, we'll let you be a teacher's aide for deaf kids in an elementary school nearby. I'll never forget the first day that I went into that classroom. Debbie, Missy, 2 7-year-old little girls, their eyes wide open, smiles on their faces. Now, I had a reason to try. After high school, my family was in massive turmoil. The best thing for me to do was just get away. What better place to come than Southern California? The beaches, the palm trees, right? Well, and I soon found Golden West College, and I heard that there was this deaf program here, and I thought, maybe I could fit in with my sign language skills. I came and I sat in the open-air cafeteria right over here, just observing. And I noticed there sure are a lot of buff guys and very attractive girls that go to this college. And after about a half hour, deep in my gut, I knew I wouldn't belong. I felt inadequate. And I know from reading the personal statements on the scholarship applications that you too have had to overcome feelings like that feeling of inadequacy. For one, it was a class you thought you couldn't pass. Another, it was a personal tragedy, but during finals. So many of you are single parents, and how you do that schedule, I have no idea. Yeah, seriously. We have first-generation students. We have people that are English as second language. And we have our heroes who have returned from the military, and they're reintegrating back into civilian life. Perhaps there's a few of you who you walked in with all the needed resources and you were able to sail through. But nevertheless, I think it's safe to say that all of us, graduates, and those here supporting the graduates, all of us, at some point in our life, we've had that feeling like we just didn't measure up. We were overwhelmed, unworthy, or just not capable. But graduates, at some point on your journey to tonight, you made a decision to commit, to dedicate yourself beyond what you thought was your measure. In other words, it was your willingness to take responsibility for yourself that has earned you the cap and gown you're in right now. I like that. When I started at Golden West, I started with one night class, right back there, psychology. I put everything I had into it. I didn't get an A, and I began to think, maybe this college thing is a little over my head. Fortunately, well, one saying I love is from Jim Rohn. He says, for things to change for you, you have to change. I've tweaked it. For things to change for me, I have to change. Fortunately, Dean, you started that class. And I took College 100, which taught me not only how to be successful in college, but in life as well. For 3 years, I worked full-time, went to a night class here and there, and interpreted when I could. Finally, my signing skills got good enough that I could interpret full-time and go to school full-time. By then, I was getting involved in student government. And I came to this very event to watch somebody that had gained my respect and admiration receive what Chris did tonight. Congratulations again, Chris. I stood in the fringes right over here. I remember standing there thinking, I wonder if that kid from group homes and special ed in high school and struggling in college, wouldn't that be great if I could get that award one day? And a dream was set that day. Instead of going one more year to college, I lightened my class load and I went 2 years. I started conducting myself in a way to gain the respect of those that I respected. Along the way, they started the pillars of achievement behind us, and I thought maybe, just maybe, I might get one of those one day too. The result, I poured